Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Crystal Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, on this fine morning. Good morning, Crystal Lee.
Good morning, John. We also have joining us AMC Movie News Associate Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're going to get things started with this. The upcoming and highly anticipated Marvel film Avengers Age of Ultron doesn't hit AMC theaters until 2015, but we now know who will be playing the main villain Ultron. It's none other than James Spader. The three-time Best Actor Emmy Award winner was announced this morning by Marvel. Spader won all 3 Emmys for playing the character Alan Shore on 2 different shows, The Practice and later Boston Legal with William Shatner. The casting debunks the theory that actor Paul Bettany, who does the voice of Iron Man's AI assistant Jarvis, would play the role. John, what do you make of the casting of James Spader as Ultron?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, let me get the one disappointing thing out of the way. You know, when at Comic-Con we saw that footage that Marvel showed at Comic-Con of Iron Man, the Iron Man suit morphing into Ultron, you know. That obviously got a lot of speculation. I've been speculating, a lot of people have been speculating that Ultron kind of becomes like the evolution of a corrupted Jarvis software. So I was really hoping we would see Paul Bettany playing Ultron. And I thought that made sense and whatever, because we know that Tony Stark's created Ultron, seems to make sense. And you know, the casting of James Spader could still point to that. I mean, just because the voice changes and he looks different, it could still just be a variation of Jarvis. Could be, whatever. We don't know, and we're going to have to wait and see. But the casting of Spader alone. Now, first of all, I've been a fan of James Spader ever since. Do you remember Crash? Not the one that won Best Picture, but you know, the one previous to that. A very sexual, intense drama. I loved him in that, but I really fell in love with him as an actor when he was on The Practice and he was on Boston Legal, and he played. I mean, it's got to be in my top 3 all-time favorite television duos, James Spader and William Shatner as Alan Shore and Denny Crane. And I think together for that pairing, when you add them up, they won 5 Emmys between them for it. He was fantastic in that, and he's just got this. And you know, then he played Mr. California on The Office for the last 2 seasons of The Office, which is pretty funny. And you know, he's got this way about him and this voice about him, and the way he can move. He can be dark and menacing and terrible, you know, and I'm really excited. I never saw it coming, not at all. Didn't see this casting coming, but I'm excited for it now. Whether he's just going to be a voice or whether he's actually going to be wearing armor and there's going to be a physical representation of him, we don't know yet. I hope we do get to see him in the film. I think that would be pretty cool, but I'm all on board for this. What about you, Amy Rose?
Oh yeah, I'm on board. I've been a fan of Spader's since Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
He was so good as this mischievous, kind of sleazy character in that, and Wall Street. I mean, all the titles you mentioned. He's really good at that role, and he has this cocky, confident air about him, just the swagger about him. So I think that he would be a really good villain, and he's going to be a really good Ultron. And I do agree, I was kind of looking forward to the evolution of Jarvis, but I think that, you know, it might still fit into this, especially since Hank Pym is not the creator of Ultron.
Right.
So definitely brings, you know, Iron Man, Jarvis, everything in his circle to the forefront, if speculation is correct. So yeah, I think Spader is a fantastic choice. He's very talented, he's very respected, and again, that's just continuing to raise the bar for how excited I am for this and the Marvel universe. I mean, they have so many diverse and eclectic actors now within their universe. So well played, Marvel. Really excited for this.
I first liked Spader and The Mannequin, and then Boston Legal.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that was him in that.
Come on, one of my favorite movies. But then in Boston Legal, the one thing I think of when I think of him is creepy.
Yeah.
He's like the king of creepy, and I really hope, I know that Joss Whedon said that he really wanted to humanize Ultron, so I hope that he does and we really get to see him and not just his voice.
You know, it's funny, even as the hero and the good guy in Boston Legal and whatever, he was still creepy.
Still creepy.
Even as the good guy.
Yep, still creepy.
He's got this sleaziness about him, but you love him for it.
Yeah.
On Thursday, September 12th, AMC Theatres is proud to participate in a special Insidious and Insidious Chapter 2 double feature. The event at select AMC Theatres starts at 7 p.m. with a screening of the original James Wan film, with the new Insidious Chapter 2 immediately following. Attendees at the event will receive a special red door lanyard and a limited edition event poster. Look in the show notes for a link for details and AMC locations hosting the event. Amy Rose, what do you think about an Insidious double feature?
Sure, why not? I mean, for horror movie fans like myself, there are few experiences as golden and incredible as seeing a horror film with a live audience, with all the tension and all the screams and laughs and everything that is a part of it. It's just such a fun movie experience. And James Wan has proven time and time again that he's really, really good at this genre. And I loved Insidious. I have seen Insidious too. I did the junket a couple weeks ago. I signed my life away, so I'm not allowed to talk about it. But it's, he's great at this. He's great at just building these characters. And what I think makes Wan so unique is that's exactly it, the characterization. He doesn't give you these cheap scares. He really builds the excitement, and he gets you to care about these characters, so then when something bad does happen to them, you feel it more. He's not only a good horror director, he's a good director. So I'm really excited to see his take on the Fast and Furious franchise. And, like I said, it's all about the experience for horror movie fans, and it'd be fun. And the cool thing about Chapter 2, opposed to being a sequel, is that they've announced, so I'm not spoiling anything, it picks up right where the first one left off. So to see that, back to back for a true fan of this franchise is a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, I am a big fan of fan experiences. Like I've always said, long before I ever worked with AMC, back when I was just a movie fan, running the movie blog and things like that, I've always said, and I will continue to say, the only way, if you're a film fan, the only way to really experience a film is in theater, the big screen, with an audience, with a crowd of other people, perfect strangers in the dark, experience these movies. Horror is really good for that. But I love these trends lately about when a new film or a sequel or a second chapter comes out for a film franchise, doing a special event and showing them back to back. Whether it's the Avengers having all the Marvel films building up to it, whether it's Fast and Furious, showing the Fast and Furious films. I went to a big, long Harry Potter marathon. Even though I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan in the world, I went to the Harry Potter marathon because that's a great film fan experience. And especially, I think horror is built for something like this. It really is, because horror is such an experiential genre. It's by nature an experiential genre, And so going into a theater, watching a film like this, especially as Amy Rose pointed out, the fact that they go back to back makes it perfect for something like this. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this is going to work. In front of her, Crystal Lee has a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So Crystal Lee, what do we got?
As all of you know, Warner Brothers and DC are bringing us the Superman-Batman film in the summer of 2015. It had been assumed that the film was going to shoot in Vancouver, Canada, but in the Michigan Film Office has just announced that the film, at least a significant portion of it, will be shooting in and around Detroit. In an official press release, the film office revealed the following particulars. The as yet untitled feature film was awarded an incentive of $35 million on $131 million of projected in-state expenditures. The production is expected to hire 406 Michigan workers with a full-time equivalent of 426 jobs, plus an additional 6,000 man-days of extra work. The production anticipates using approximately 500 local Michigan vendors during the course of production and spending $5.1 million on local hotels, as well as an additional $3.5 million in out-of-town cast and crew per diem payments that will be spent in the local economy, but which fall outside of the incentive program. John, buy or sell Superman Batman shooting in Michigan?
I buy this. I really do. Now, I'm a little disappointed, obviously, being Canadian, that they're not going up to Vancouver to shoot it, sure. But you know what? Here's the thing, and this is a little bit of a personal note of mine. I have an actress friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine. Her name's Erin Cummings, and she was in like Bitch Slap, and she was in. She's been in a lot of TV shows, including the most recent show that was on air, Detroit 187. And so she obviously had to move to Detroit for shooting that show, where she really developed an affection for it. And let's face it, Detroit is often the butt of a lot of jokes. because of the current situation it finds itself in. That has been in for a little while. So she started a charity there called Mittens for Detroit. It's really cool. I highly encourage that you look it up and see what they're doing there or stuff like that. But if you're going to talk about a community in the States that could really use an influx with something like this, this is great. You know, John Schnepp was joking on this show a while ago, talking about like big disaster movies, and he was just like, "Shoot it in Detroit. You can blow up city blocks for $100. It doesn't matter." But I mean, realistically, you can go into Detroit and probably shoot pretty cheaply there. And the fact of the matter is, look, 6,000 man days of work, 5.1 million just in hotel things, $135 million being injected in the local economy, 500 jobs, all this kind of stuff. It's always really nice when you hear about productions like this going into towns and cities like Detroit and that area of Michigan and around there to shoot these things because it benefits everybody. So yeah, for me, it's really a buy. What do you think, Amy Rose?
Now, John, I'm happy to stay in state if you want to give me just a little chunk of that $35 million incentive. Come on. Please stay in state. We'll give you $35 more million for that. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me. Not only is it going to just help make the production better and on, a greater scale, but it's also cool that they are shooting on our soil. And not to mention, I went to Detroit for the first time. I guess it was a couple months at this point for the Need for Speed set visit, and it really it has everything. I mean, it has the grungy city vibe in places. It has the very beautiful lush area. It has everything. So I really do think they'll be able to accomplish everything they need to there. And yeah, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, if any part of our country is going to need an influx, I mean, I'm happy that it's going to be there. And yeah, why not? I think that the team behind this is going to make it amazing wherever they shoot. So add 35 more million to the budget, and it just increases our shots of just having the best effects, the best everything. So I'm excited.
All right.
So many things are going to Detroit now. The new AMC show Low Winter Sun is also filmed in Detroit, and watching that show and seeing the scenery that they're using, I can totally picture the new Man of Steel being there. So it's exciting.
Love that, Mark Strong.
Mm-hmm. Production has already begun on Christopher Nolan's upcoming film Interstellar, and although it already has an incredible cast, Nolan has added another big name to the project. According to reports, Matt Damon has joined the film in a small, undisclosed role. Interstellar's cast also includes the likes of Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, John Lithgow, Casey Affleck, and Michael Caine. Interstellar is set to hit AMC Theatres on November 7th, 2014. John, buy or sell the addition of Matt Damon to Interstellar?
I buy it. I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan film. You look at this cast lineup that he's got already, and then, oh, by the way, just for fun, we're going to add Matt Damon. I mean, that's never a mistake. You can put Matt Damon in anything. You can put him in the most... We've seen that you can put him in the most intensive dramas. We've seen you can put him in sci-fi. We've seen that you can put him in comedy. You can put this guy in anything. He's like sugar or chocolate or mayonnaise in my example. So yeah, I'm all for this. This sounds great. I'm a buy. Amy Rose?
Enthusiastic buy. Not to be outdone by Batflick, let's get your buddy Damon in my picture, says Nolan. I'm really excited about this. I mean, Nolan is just one of the most visionary directors we have, and this cast is incredible. Beyond Matthew McConaughey, which both John and I have expressed that we think he's a really amazing dramatic actor. Yes, he takes off his shirt a lot for rom-coms, but I mean, Mud, A Time to Kill, there's so many good ones, Lincoln Lawyer, that he's incredible. And I think that he's going to work really well with Nolan. And beyond Chastain and Affleck and all the other great actors, Michael Caine, John Lithgow, yes. I'm so excited. He stole the show as Trinity and Dexter.
Yes.
And I love him so much. So yeah, Matt Damon is an incredible actor, and this just makes this ensemble really a force to be reckoned with. I'm really excited.
All right.
It was recently revealed that this year's hit Now You See Me was going to be getting a sequel due to the fact that it took in almost $300 million at the worldwide box office. Now, the director of the film, Louis Letterier, has stated that he will be returning to direct the sequel as well. Letterier has previously directed such films as Transporter 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Clash of the Titans. Amy Rose, buy or sell Letterier returning to direct Now You See Me 2?
Bye. Louis is such a doll. He's so humble and so wonderful, and I really liked the first film. I mean, that still remains one of my favorite junkets I've ever covered because the cast just had the best chemistry, and they loved the film, and you can really feel that. And it was glossy, it was stylized, and it combines two of the best things ever, magic and heist film. So yeah, I really liked the first one a lot, and I'm really excited that everyone is back on board and all the same elements are in place with the director at the helm.
I'm going to have to sell this one. First of all, starting off first and foremost, I was really, really disappointed in Now You See Me. I was really looking forward to the film, and I thought it was a hot mess. For me, it started off with promise, and just structurally it fell apart. There was so much that even as a film fan, and you got to suspend some disbelief, they went way off the board with logic. I was really disappointed with it. And, follow up with that, I was really disappointed in a couple of his other films, including Clash of the Titans, which was just terrible. So do I see potential in this guy? Yeah, I like The Incredible Hulk, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in 4 scenes. Go watch it, see if you can find me. But I did like his work on that. I thought he did a good job. It was a nice recovery, if you will, from the previous Hulk film. But no, I'm not interested in Now You See Me 2. I thought the first one was terrible, and maybe I'd have a little bit more hope if they changed it up and changed directors. But same movie franchise with same director, and I was disappointed in the first one. For me, it's got to be a sell.
Boo on you.
Yeah.
I loved Now You See Me. I thought it was so great. And if anyone's a fan of America's Got Talent, one of the magicians just did a trick almost similar to a Now You See Me trick. So I was impressed seeing that it can really be done. And Louis is
magic.
Amazing. I got to talk to him on a red carpet. Yeah, he was so humble and so excited about this film. And it is so different from his last one. So I am so excited for Now You See Me too. Boo on you, John. Boo.
Woo.
The upcoming Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson film Lore has just gone through a director change. It's being reported that relative unknown David Green has replaced Barry Sonnenfeld to helm the film. Lore is based on the graphic novel and is described as follows. In times past, the world was full of mythical creatures long since held at bay by a secret society of shepherds. But when the shepherd's line of succession is broken, a reluctant hero finds her life threatened from every quarter, and the creatures are coming back. Will the earth be ready for their return? John, buy or sell the sounds of Lore?
I'm going to buy it. You've got me hooked because this is the type of genre that I am clearly the target demographic for. This type of there's creatures being held at bay this long. I love when they create these long mythologies. So all in all, it sounds good. Throw in a guy like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who to me is just the most electrifying man in entertainment today. He's vanilla ice cream, no nutritional value whatsoever. You just have a good time consuming it. And to me, that's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I have a lot of fun watching him on screen, even though there's not a lot of cultural or artistic value to what he's doing. He's fun to watch. So sue me. So overall, for me, this is a buy. Amy Rose?
Yeah, I'm going to buy it for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's wonderful. He's a good actor. He's so charismatic, and he is fun to watch. He just really does light up the screen. But I am a little disappointed that Barry has left the production. I mean, Get Shorty, Men in Black. He's been on as both a director and producer on so many great films, the original Men in Black, I'm saying. So I am a little disappointed, and I believe this is David Green's directorial debut. I think he's acted and produced and done a lot of things, but I don't think he's directed yet. So it should be interesting, but The Rock can definitely carry a film, so I'm sure it still has hope of being fun. And I love me a good graphic novel. So
yeah, I know he has directed, and he's got a film coming out called Echo.
So this is his first.
I think he has directed something else too, but it was much smaller scale. Certainly no feature films that have been wide release or anything
not like
that.
Barry.
Yeah, that any of us would be really familiar with. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Every day we pull out just a couple of messages and we try to get to them. Right now, Chrisley's got a few of them pulled out of the mailbag. So, Chrisley, what do we got?
Adam Rodriguez writes, "Hey guys, love your show. Now I have recently watched We're the Millers about 3 times and it was hilarious. My question is, what do you guys think about a sequel where the bad guys break free or something like that and you see the family on the road again with new twists of the movie, of course? I'd love to know what you guys think and keep up the good work."
I really like We're the Millers. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite. It's going to be my top 3 favorite comedies of the year or anything like that. But I mean, it has its problems. The film is too long. I wasn't really big on. What's the name of the guy who plays Andy on The Office again? Ed Helms. I didn't think Ed Helms was all that good in it. But you know what? This core group. was being led by Jason Sudeikis, who I love, by the way. And you know what? I'm going to keep preaching this movie until everybody in the nation catches on. Jason Sudeikis was in this little limited release film that I think you can now find on Netflix, and I think it was the first feature comedy I've ever seen him lead, called A Good Old Fashioned Orgy. It's hilarious. Go on Netflix and see if you can find it, because it's really, really funny. Okay, now getting back to We're the Millers. The thing about We're the Millers that really worked for me was the fact that the chemistries for me worked. You know, and often in comedy, it really comes down to chemistry. How well, comedically, do these people play off each other? I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but the young guy who played the fake son was absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
Julia Roberts' niece was actually quite funny. And if you haven't seen the film yet, there is a scene where there's a kissing lesson going on, and I thought I was going to be sick. I literally thought I was going to puke. I was laughing so hard. Now, there aren't enough of those I was going to puke, I was laughing so hard moments to say it's one of the great comedies. But overall, for me, I enjoyed it. I liked it. Now, I know Amy Rose hasn't had a chance to see it yet because she was on vacation, I believe, when this movie came out. But I know you, Chris Lee, had a chance to see this film. What did you think about it?
I did. I just went to see it last night. Actually, there were some really fun laugh out loud moments. I agree. Sudeikis was amazing. I loved the sister and brother characters. My only problem with the film, and all the men are now going to hate me, was Jennifer Aniston. I don't love her. She always kind of plays the same roles. And while, yes, I know we got to see her half naked, I just didn't buy her as that part. But other than that, I thought the movie was really funny. There were some really fun parts to it, just not my favorite comedy.
And look, the movie's profitable. It made money. So that means they want to make a sequel. I mean, I haven't talked to anybody from the studio, but the movie made money means they want to make a sequel.
And
See how that math
definitely
works?
set it up for that.
And they definitely set it up for that.
For
As
sure.
far as the idea of bringing the same villains back, pardon me, I don't want them to make the same movie. Just give me the same characters. And I talk about this a lot when talking about sequels to comedies especially. People will say, oh, we didn't need a sequel to that. The story didn't need a sequel. Well, yeah, but that's irrelevant when it comes to comedies. Quite often with comedies is, I just want to go and hang out with these characters again for another 90 minutes. Don't give me the same story. Put in some other kind of context. I just want to sit and hang out with these four characters again. Do that. I'll be on board, and I'll be there, and I'll have a good time.
I haven't seen the movie, but I mean, I feel you on Jennifer Aniston, Chris Lee. Like, I don't typically like her that much. She always plays the same role, but I loved her in Horrible Bosses because she was edgy. And I thought from the trailer and everything I saw about this that this would be another role that kind of takes her away from the rom-com and goes more into that edgy. But I haven't seen it, so I can't judge. But I felt like she's at least making smarter career decisions because these are a little different than her norm, you know?
Just not viable as a stripper for me, but hey, that's just me. Sneak peeker writes, hello AMC News. I gotta say, I love what you guys do, and you're the absolute best at it, so please keep up the great work.
Well, thank you so much.
My question is regarding the Ben Affleck casting as Batman for the Man of Steel sequel. I'm very excited to see his take on the character. However, ever since the news of his casting breaks out, there's been a massive rejection, denial, and plain hate towards Ben and the producers behind the decision. So, is there any possibility this increasingly negative response toward the casting will make WB or Ben Affleck change their decision and recast the role? Is there any precedence of something like it?
Surprisingly enough, there is very, very, very rare. There is some precedence to this. And we're going to stick in the realm of Batman. Actually, a number of years ago, they were trying to get a Justice League movie off the ground while Christopher Nolan's Batman was on the go, and it wasn't going to have Christian Bale as Batman. So there was a Batman series going on with Christian Bale, but this Batman in Justice League was going to be different. And at the time, there was a Superman franchise going on that didn't turn into a franchise with Superman Returns and Brandon Routh. And they were just going to create a completely separate universe with a different Superman, different Batman, and all this kind of stuff. And they were all going to be young. They were all going to be like 20. And the reaction was overwhelming and negative. I don't recall there being a debate. Like with Ben Affleck, there's a debate. People are debating. With this, there was no debate. It was just everybody hated it. Now, we can have the discussion about whether that's why Warner Brothers pulled the plug on it or whether they just came to their senses because it was a terrible idea to start with. So you could make an argument there is some precedence, but there is no way No way. Barring family illness or, family tragedy or something like that, or Warner Brothers going bankrupt, there is no way that they are backing out of this. Why? Because the guys at Warner Brothers and Ben Affleck, they're all smart people. They knew exactly what the initial knee-jerk overreactionists that this seems like the entire internet is, and I'm including myself in that, by the way. They knew that, hey, the internet is all a bunch of knee-jerk reactionists. They knew that this is probably going to be the reaction. And I'll be honest with you, I said this on the show before. I'm surprised that the reaction hasn't been more negative. I actually anticipated the reaction to be a little bit more negative than it has been. So I'm kind of encouraged by how much positive reaction there has been to all this. But they knew what the reaction was going to be. They were prepared for it, and they know there's going to be this initial crap storm of everybody spewing off this nonsense. And I think Warner Brothers understands and knew that the reaction was going to come, and there is no way that any of these mindless drones who goes, let's sign a petition. It's like, okay, moron, go ahead and sign your little petition. This ain't changing. Amy Rose, how do you see this?
Yeah, back to the original question. No. Like I mentioned before on our big Ben Affleck as Batman special, Warner Brothers is in the Ben business. They really are. I mean, not only have they, produced the last 2 of his directorial credits, but he just won them Best Picture Oscar. I mean, that's not a small deal for Warner Brothers that has had a few flops, a few disappointments in recent times. And they're also distributing his Live by Night, his next directorial effort. So they definitely are in the Ben business. From everything I've heard about it, people love collaborating with the man. He's very humble. He's very passionate. And as John mentioned, I do strongly support what I said about him improving in front of the lens as soon as he stepped behind the lens. It gave him a different approach. You got to know he's not taking this role lightly. I mean, I don't think the teeter-totter scene was the only problem with Daredevil. Sorry, John. But I definitely think that, if you're going to be cast as one of the most famous, legendary superheroes of all time, you don't take that decision lightly. And he's taking this very seriously. And he also wants to redeem because most of us didn't like Daredevil that much. So I do think that, he at least very much deserves an open mind. And as I stated, to bring it back, Warner Brothers is the Ben business. There's no way in hell that he is not going to play the Batman.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought up Argo because, one of the arguments that I've been having with people is like, once again, a lot of these closed-minded people, not the rational ones. I enjoyed the debates with the rational ones.
Yeah.
But these closed-minded ones are like, oh, he'll just ruin any movie he's in. Really? Really? Because the last time I checked, the last movie that Ben Affleck was the lead actor in, it won Best Picture at the Oscars. Mm-hmm. So tell me again, sit down with me and look me in the eye and tell me again how Ben Affleck ruins a movie he's going to be in. But, one of the other arguments a lot of people threw at me, especially this friend of mine threw at me, is like, well, Warner Brothers better listen. I said, damn wrong. No way Warner Brothers should listen. There's this great quote. I can't remember. I think it might have been Bill Parcells, the guy who was the coach of the New York Giants. He made a great quote because somebody once asked him, do you ever listen to the fans or take advice from the fans and listen to the fans? And Bill Parcells said this, and I've always loved this, and I think it totally applies to the movie business. He said, coaches who listen to the fans are destined to be sitting with them next week.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't that? Coaches who listen to fans are destined to be sitting with them next week. Mm-hmm. And I believe Warner Brothers has to take the exact same approach. You are the ones who are in the movie business. You're the ones who know what you're doing, WB. You don't listen to the fans who really, we don't know what we're talking about as much as these execs. And remember, if fans could pull vetoes and kick potential actors out of roles, we never would have had Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. A lot of people who are into revisionist history say nowadays, oh no, the reaction wasn't that negative when they announced him. You're lying to yourself. I remember it very clearly. I was already into movie blogging, and the visceral hatred about the casting of Hugh Jackman was just
there's so many
unbelievable. And of course, obviously the big obvious one, we never would have had Heath Ledger as the Joker. I mean that reaction was worse than what
Daniel
we're seeing
Craig as
for Ben
Bond.
Affleck.
People were pissed.
Yeah, they were absolutely outraged and angry. And it's like, that's it, DC's done now. Batman's ruined and blah, blah, blah.
I like that quote a lot, John. It makes me think of another one that's like, if you don't build your own dreams, someone's going to hire you to build theirs.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, and WB knew that no matter who they cast at this point, they were going to get a backlash because comic book fans are so in love with their characters. And no matter who they cast, they were going to get huge backlash. But Ben Affleck has proved from when he came from South Boston that he is constantly getting better and better. And Argo is a great example of that. And I think, I have not said it yet once, but I think he's going to make an amazing Batman. I'm so excited for him to prove everyone wrong.
And I'm so glad you brought up that point because this kind of came up a little bit on the show the other day. I can't name, other than Christian Bale.
Right.
Other than Christian Bale. I think a lot of us, even those of us who didn't think it was a good idea for them to bring him back because that changes the universe, even I would have been, well, okay, it's not what I would have done, but all right, Christian Bale's back. I would have been okay with it. Mm-hmm. Other than Christian Bale, anybody they named would have gotten petitions. Like, can you imagine if Ryan Gosling had gotten that role?
Oof.
Can you imagine if Josh Brolin had gotten that role? Can you imagine?
It's always going to be split.
I mean, they would have really divided people no matter who they got. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that because everybody's like, oh, Ben Affleck, they should have gotten anybody else. Well, yeah, if they put Ryan Reynolds in as Batman, you would have been pretty damn upset. If they had put anybody else in there. And maybe there's a little bit more with Ben Affleck because there's more. Going back to 10 years ago, there's a history of some failure. Mm-hmm. There is. I mean, even those of us who are Ben Affleck supporters, we got to admit that. There's some history of failure 10 years ago. But no, I think we're all agreed here. There's no way Warner Brothers is going to be so stupid as to listen to some stupid fan petition. Not that fans are stupid, but anybody getting behind this petition. It reminds me a lot. Amy Rose, do you remember back when Daniel Craig was announced as the new James Bond? The outrage was so unbelievable. Oh, yeah. There was this big website that they even featured on CNN that these anti-Craig people started called craignotbond.com. And it had this huge movement behind it, and people were so mad. It's like, and what did the studio do? You know what? Sony said, we know better. And we know that this is the right guy for it. So despite all this internet backlash, we're going ahead with Daniel Craig as Bond. All right, folks, so listen, that'll do it for us. We've gone overtime. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, take a second and click on that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, including our daily AMC Movie Talk show and, of course, our weekend AMC Mailbag show where we answer a lot more mailbag questions. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video where you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher radio. I want to thank, as always, first of all, our lovely host, Miss Chris Lee Kennedy. Chris Lee, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chrisley.
Our movie news editor here at AMC, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you?
Also on Twitter and Instagram at Amy Rosie.
And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Remember, the most important part of our show is not what we have to say. Debating and discussing is one of the most fun things about being a film fan, and we want you to participate. Jump on down to the comments section. Leave your thoughts on any or all the topics we discussed here today. Agree, disagree. Like I said, this is the most fun thing about being film fans. Just keep it respectful and understand that we're all film fans together. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Until next time, my name's John Campion. Until then, bye-bye.